Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan Mudd. Welcome to episode 2 of Down the Rabbit Hole, where I'm digging into the songs from my new album, Meant for the Sun. Today we're going to go deep on one of my favorite tracks on the new record. It's called It Starts With a Fall.
Life ain't easy. Rivers fast and mountains high. Take it as it comes, believe me. Between the love and the laughter, the tears are gonna find the song.
In the first installment of Down the Rabbit Hole, I talked about a song called Tell Me That Don't Sound Better, which I wrote rather quickly. It Starts With a Fall was a whole different ballgame. This one took me forever to write. There was a period of time where a lot of my friends had aging parents and grandparents who had fallen and ended up in the hospital. The same thing had happened to my dad. The thing is, a lot of these old folks never really recovered. Their falls set off these long chains of medical problems that pretty soon had them on the ropes. Inevitably, I'd be talking to some friend and he'd shrug and say, it starts with a fall. The first time I heard that line, I knew it was a song. But I didn't want to write a whole tune about old people dying. That's the territory for John Prine and Jason Isbell. It occurred to me that death isn't the only thing that starts with a fall. Think about it. Life is just one fall right after another, from baby's first step to falling in love, to falling from grace, to falling to your knees. We're all just falling through life. I felt like I had a good concept for the song. All I needed to do was write some good chords and lyrics that would do it justice. And that's when I froze up. I tried and I tried on the guitar, on the piano, all kinds of different styles, and I just couldn't bring it home. And that's when Elvin Bishop came to my rescue. I've always loved that Elvin Bishop song, Fooled Around and Fell in Love. It was on the radio. It was a big hit when I was like 13. Mickey Thomas sings the absolute hell out of it, and Elvin's got this bluesy, slow burn guitar solo that just kills me every single time. I've always wanted to cover that song in one of my bands. And one day I was sitting around messing with the chords. I must have been through about 1,000,000 girls. I love them and I leave them alone. I fooled around and fell in love. I fooled around and fell in love. Such a great song. Anyway, something about the feel of that song just sparked for me. And I fooled around with the progression a little bit, added a B verse and a chorus, and I was off to the races. Oh, baby takes her first step and the crowd goes wild. Oh, daddy can't stop taking pictures and mama's got tears in her smile. And there it was. I rushed out to the recording studio with my pal Elron Z de Trois, Easy D, and he laid down this super cool groove while I just played a scratch rhythm guitar part. Then I brought in two guys who were in my very first band to play bass and keyboards. Here's my old friend Andrew Luthringer laying down a sweet James Jamerson style Motown bass groove. And here's Jon Spurney taking my very simple guitar chords and fleshing them out on piano, bringing almost a gospel vibe to it. As it turned out, Andrew and John played together a lot on the Meant for the Sun album, and I'm going to focus on them in a future episode of Down the Rabbit Hole.
Hey everybody, sorry to interrupt, but I just gotta put in a shameless plug for Jonathan Mudd's new album, Meant for the Sun. Check it out right now on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, everywhere. Do it now!
Anyway, bass, drums, piano, guitar, that's really all there is to the instrumental bed for It Starts With a Fall. But this song is really all about the words, and I knew the vocals had to shine. So I cut a lead vocal, and it sounded pretty good. But I felt like it still needed more energy, a fat stack of harmonies, and maybe even a strong female voice on top. Luckily, there was one of those in the very next room, my wife, Carol Ann. Carol's got this great, gritty, soulful voice and a super sense of harmony. She was exactly what the doctor ordered. Here's Carol and me singing on the chorus together.
Life ain't easy. A river's fast and mountains high. Take it as it comes, believe me.
At this point, I was starting to feel pretty good about the way It Starts With a Fall was coming together. But I wanted to take it higher. The final thing It Starts With a Fall needed, in my view, was horns. A big Stax record style horn section. I'd played live with horns before, but I've never used a horn section on one of my songs. I knew a crazy good sax player named Trevor Specht, who plays with Chop Teeth, the really great DC area Afro-funk band. Trevor was good enough to write a really beautiful, really funky horn chart for It Starts With a Fall. We booked some time with producer-engineer Mark Williams at his Water Street Sound Studio in Washington, D.C. And in addition to Trevor playing tenor, alto, and soprano saxes, we enlisted trombone player Joe Jackson, who had been in Maynard Ferguson's band and was the lead trombone in the U.S. Air Force Airmen of Note for many years. And then we were able, through a stroke of great fortune, to bring in Paul Spong. Yeah, that Paul Spong, who was in Elton John's band for many years, played with the Rolling Stones, The Who, Wham, Kate Bush, you name it. Paul came in and played trumpet. Let's go inside the isolation chamber and hear Trevor, Joe, and Paul do their thing on It Starts With a Fall. So there it is. It Starts With a Fall. It took me a long time to get from the concept to the final cut, but I gotta say, I think it was time well spent. I really like the way the track came out, and I hope you enjoy listening to it. I'll be back soon with a new episode of Down the Rabbit Hole, where I'll dig into another track from my brand new album, Meant for the Sun. Thanks for watching.
That's when